Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care. Now, here's your host, founder, caregiver, and CEO, Suzanne Newman.
And welcome everyone to Answers for Elders Radio Network. And we are here in the month of December as the holidays are upon us. You know, I remember caring for my mom. There's so many things that a family caregiver goes through. And for those of you that are listening, maybe you are a caregiver and you're thinking, how am I going to do everything? And, you know, this show is something that's important, I think, for all of us to listen to, whether we care for someone or not, because likely everyone in this country knows someone that is caring for a loved one. And for those of you that are listening, think about the world out there. Think about how you are, you know, just seeing people coming by and coming and going. And yet there is that individual that not only is trying to make a happy holiday season for their family and their immediate family, maybe their sandwich generation, they might have children at home or, you know, or anything like that. But if you're caring for a loved one, a senior loved one or a spouse, there's this whole new element of not only do I feel the pressure for myself, but how do I make the holidays special for those that I love? And when you have someone that you're caring for, that is not so easy. And so this week, I felt it would be really important to have our wonderful Lori La Bey back, who is my sister, soul sister in the world, who's part of Answers for Elders family, with her podcast called Alzheimer's Speaks. Lori La Bey, welcome to Answers for Elders.
It's great to be back. Thanks for having me, Suzanne.
You know, I'm happy you're back. And certainly we talked a couple of weeks ago on our show about just saying thank you. It was our Thanksgiving show. And it really, you know, as we left that show, I really wanted to have you back because we touched on some things of how sometimes we forget to say thank you to those that we care about. But we also don't probably recognize all of the sacrifices that they make over the holiday season, all of the different aspects to, you know, their life. And so, you know, I thought it would be important to, let's just talk about the holidays as a whole, Lori. I would love to have you share your thoughts on what is life like, Lori, for a typical family caregiver that is taking care of someone that they love, and how does that affect the holiday season for them?
Well, I think we got to go back and start with how are holidays for most people, period. And they're chaotic. I mean, there is so much promotional stress of what it's supposed to look like, how it's supposed to be, and keeping up with the Joneses to begin with. And all of our schedules are too tight from the very beginning. And now you've got to decorate and buy gifts and do all of those types of things. Then you add in a person who's caring for someone. And now they're living two lives.
Right.
In their 24 hours. They have to fit in two different lives. And it's different than taking care of your kids that you can, you know, as they grow older, say, go do this and go do that. Many times you're the person who has to go do that. Right. And you're now often, especially with our elders, you are picking up tasks that maybe you didn't do that your partner did because you're caring for them. So now maybe they did all the driving and now you have to do the driving. You are now responsible for all the finances and you never paid the bills before. These are the things that people don't think about, you know, or maybe, you know, they did all the cooking and the laundry and now that's added onto your plate. And you thought your life was pretty dang full before that. So you're living your life for two people, and then you're adding on all of these specialty kind of items for the holidays. And then you have on top of that, the guilt of how do I pull this off? Yeah. And not be, you know, in chaos. But yet, how do I get some sleep? So so that I can carry out all of these things. So I think there's so many things that are overlooked by people because it's just taken for granted that they're doing okay, because we put on kind of that Stepford wife smile, like we got it under control. And then we walk away and roll our eyes and want to scream going, I'm
Uh-huh.
never going to get this all done.
Right.
So
Right.
I think one is just appreciating how much is on somebody's plate. And then
Mhm.
also knowing, I think the other aspect that's really important, Suzanne, is that we're not in control of our schedules.
No.
That can change in a heartbeat. So you and I who aren't caring for someone, we can have our little checklist, and at 3 we're going to do this, and at 2 we're gonna do that.
Exactly.
And then we're going to go meet friends for happy hour, and then we're going to go do this. A person who's caring for someone else can have major catastrophes throughout
Yeah.
the day that
Right.
might not seem like a lot, but
Right.
are a lot when you're trying to squeeze them into one schedule.
Yeah. And Lori, what you're saying is so true. And I think there's this other piece of helping that individual feel like they're not alone. And I think a lot of times I have a vivid memory of when I was caring for my mother, walking out into my kitchen, and I stood right in front of my kitchen island. I can see the environment, but I just felt this weight, like it's all on my shoulders and I'm all alone in this. This was like this revelation that all of a sudden I realized I had to figure this out on my own. And I think a lot of people that go through that they have someone's quality of life in their own hands, but on top of that, they have the responsibility to advocate for them, for their care, for their financials, for so many other aspects of that they don't feel adequate to be able to do in many cases. And yet they're doing it. They're just putting one step in front of the other, and somehow they're trying to figure out what would be the best way to honor that individual. And I think that the holiday season, like you said, is this monumental thing. And I remember also feeling like people would ask me, how can I help you? And I wouldn't even, first of all, I wouldn't even think about that there's anything somebody else could do, because I wasn't in that mindset, but I didn't even know how to ask for help. What do you see with families that you talk to?
Well, it's kind of funny when you said I didn't even know how to ask for help, because it's kind of like the joke is, you clean before the cleaners come.
Correct.
And you can't get your list together because you don't have time to be able to pass it off. So you
Right.
can't hire a cleaner or helper.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
those little things, because you want it to be streamlined so that it's not more chaotic and stuff.
Right.
I think it starts with everybody on the outside circle really appreciating and understanding
Mhm.
that what they're seeing isn't really what's going on behind the scenes, that
Right.
there's a lot more moving parts, and just assume that people need help, and do it in a way, because it's hard, but most of us don't want to admit we need help because we feel like
Right.
we're a failure then, and that we should be able to handle this. So letting people know this is a team effort.
Yep.
You're not the only one that loves this person, and we love you, and we want to support you. And, so please let us in. And it could be simple things like, think of the stress of just getting your Christmas cards out.
Mhm.
And now you need to do it for 2 people, if let's say you're an adult child caring for a parent versus, a spouse where you'd have 1 list. Now you
Mhm.
have 2, and those things can fall by the wayside. And that's
Mhm.
something that the person who you're caring for can participate maybe at some level. Maybe they can't write the card, maybe they can't write the
Yeah.
family letter, but they could maybe put the stamps on the envelopes or
Yeah.
stuff the envelopes, and just do it as a group so it's a lighter mood.
Yeah.
And there's some social engagement there.
Mhm.
I think can be helpful, because sometimes it's just that kind of prodding and supporting somebody
Yeah.
through some of these extra tasks that need to be
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. It reminds me of a story that I'm going to tell in our next segment about just some ideas on what one family did for their family caregiver. And I will share that in the next segment. In the meantime, Lori, you have an amazing podcast for those that are navigating the more difficult journey even of Alzheimer's, called Alzheimer's Speaks. And Lori, we can find it where?
at alzheimerspeaks.com. And it's not just Alzheimer's specific, it's all dementias.
Yes, all dementias. That's true. And certainly that's a whole other piece that a lot of people have to navigate. And so Lori and I are talking about the holiday season. How do we keep our minds clear? How can we help others that we care about? And we'll be right back right after this. We at Answers for Elders thank you for listening. Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.